Hey folks, I'm Piano Man Steve Lungrin, founder of LearningMusicIsFun.com and creator of the Piano Man Approach online piano course. Welcome to my free tutorial for Sad Songs Say So Much by the brilliant Elton John, one of my heroes. Now, quickly before we get started, if you enjoy this video and enjoy the other content that I put up here on YouTube, I would invite you now to go down and like and subscribe. It helps me raise up in the search rankings. I really appreciate it. Also, if you subscribe and click the little bell, you'll get notifications when I put new stuff out, so you're up to date with what's coming out here on the channel. Also, if you're really enjoying yourself and you feel so inclined, I have some digital tipping options down there. I have Venmo and PayPal alike. Not required, always appreciated, helps keep the lights on, helps support me putting new material out. But your greatest gift to me is your presence. Okay, enough of that housekeeping work. Let's get on with the song. We're going to do this in a few chapters, and you'll notice that there's a chapter list below that you can follow to get from one section to the next. In chapter 1, we're going to learn the introduction to the song. So, let's get after it right after this very quick blackout. Okay, let's take a look at the intro. So at full speed, this is what we're going to be learning how to do. Okay, so that's what we're going to be aiming for. So what's going on? Let's start with the left hand. The left hand in this song is incredibly important because it is the rhythmic foundation that the entire song will rest upon. The good news is that it's fairly predictable and fairly consistent all the way through, so you don't have to learn a lot of stuff, but you do have to get it good and solid if you want the song to sound good. So what we're going to be doing is find octaves, and if you can't do octaves, if your hand it's a real painful stretch for it, you can just play one note, but I would pick the lower note, and I would either play it with your pinky or your thumb or even your index finger. It doesn't really matter, but make sure you find something on your left hand where you can play a good solid beat. Octaves are preferred. Here's middle C. We're going to go an octave below middle C with your thumb and your pinky below that on Cs. So here's your rhythm. 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3. So 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. You're going to keep that going the entire song, that rhythm. No matter what note you're on, you're going to be bum, 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 bum. Okay? Now, so we've got at the tempo 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 2 measures of C. Then you go to F for 2 measures. Then you go to G for 2 measures. Then you're back to C for 2 measures. And then it repeats. That's the intro. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. 2, 2, and 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 2, 3, 4. Back to C, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it just does that all over again. So let me do it one time slow, and then you'll get plenty of chances to see how it fits in with the right hand when we do some running through with both hands. So 1, 2, 3, 4. now repeats. So back on stand C to F. To G. Back to C. And then you're into the verse. So what's going on with the right hand? Okay, the right hand is going to start on a C chord that we're voicing in second inversion. If you don't know what that means, don't worry. You don't need to know what it means. You can just pick it up from looking here. But what it means is that you're playing this G, middle C, and E, like so. So it starts on that chord, and we flutter into it. We kind of arpeggiate it up. You start on the bottom note and kind of go all in one count. Gives it that kind of ornamentation that you hear with Elton. He likes to do lots of little grace notes like that, and usually all he's doing is fluttering on that chord that he's already on. So it's C chord, and then it goes to a D minor chord, which is A, D, and F. And then it goes to C, E, G. So it's a C chord in root position. Okay? So slowly. From there, he does a little maneuver where it's G. It's essentially G and E, like so. But he does this grace note leading into the E with a D. He brushes off of D, like so, and onto the E, like that. The next is G and D together, okay? And then it's an F chord, A, C, F. Okay, so when you do that, bum, 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 then 1, 2, 4, 1. So see how your thumb comes down on the count of 4, just on that A? It's a little bit of extra pace. Okay, bum, 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 bum. And then you have this maneuver. You move your hand and you put your thumb on this F, and it goes bum, bum. That's a B flat chord, B flat, D, F, and then resolves down to the to the F chord, A, C, F. Okay, so let's just look at what's going on up to that point so we don't lose it all. Now, we come up and we're back to this interesting little maneuver like that where we play G and E together but brush off of this D into the E. And it looks like this. So, the little maneuver there, then G and D together, then C and G together, and then a G chord, which is B, D, G. Okay? And then you come down to this G, and it's G, A, G, except we're going to put one of those little grace notes in there, G, and then you brush off of this A flat into the A. then it goes to an F major 7 chord, F, A, C, E, face. Then it goes to a D minor chord, F, A, D, so. And then it plays that twice, like so, bum, bum. And what we want to do is throw that little brush off the A flat into the A there on the first of the bumps, so. Excuse me. And then it goes down to a C chord, E, G, C. And then you do the same thing that you did before, except now we're in a different place on the keyboard, but thumb comes down on that E, and then plays an F chord, F, A, C, and resolves right back down to C. Okay, so the whole line, right hand only, goes like this. Really nice and slow. Again. Okay, so the intro is you play that twice in the right hand along with what we learned in the left hand. So let's put the hands together, and I'm just going to do 3 or 4 run-throughs pretty slow so you can see both hands together in context of that line. Okay? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. One more time, really slow, and then I'll play it all at full tempo, and then we will be ready to move on to the next chapter. 2, 3. that's the intro. So when you get it up to speed, you're ready for the verse. Okay, there will be a short blackout, sponsored by Screenflow, my favorite editing software. And then we will start with the verse. I'll see you there in just a second. Okay, now that we have the intro down, let's take a look at the verse of the song. This is exactly, they're the same way in both the first and the second verse. And this is what I'm going to teach you here is a really good sort of foundational rhythm pattern that kind of captures the essence of that recording. And then later in the video, I'm going to show you some different things that you can do moment by moment if you want to dress it up a little bit. Because that's how Elton plays. He never plays anything exactly the same way twice, but he always captures the essence of it in the same way, and then has a little bag of different tricks that he throws in for a little color here and there. So the best way to sound like Elton is to have an essential way to play it that you can always return to, and then to just have some ideas in your hip pocket, and in the moment slip some of them in. Little variation here, a little variation there. That's what makes it sound like Elton, because that's how Elton plays in his recordings and live. So here is what's going on in the verse. The good thing is that the left hand does exactly the same thing that it did for the intro. It's 2 measures of C, followed by 2 measures of F, 2 measures of G, back to 2 measures of C, and then it repeats. So C, then F, then G, then C, and we are in the chorus at that point. So you've already learned what you need to learn for the left hand if you learned the intro. So what's going on with the right hand? Okay, so here's our rhythm pattern that we're going to follow in the right hand. It goes like this. Okay, so that's all that's going on here. So what is it? We start with a C chord, and we want to be on this voicing here, which is the second inversion, G, C, E, like so. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and now. So you come down on 1 and 2, and then when you come down on that syncopated note, it's with your thumb only. G, then it goes to an F chord, A, C, F, and resolves right back down to the C chord, G, C, E. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3. And then on the count of 4, you come down one more time on C, and then launch into an F chord, A, C, F. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then on F, we're going to do essentially the same thing, but we're on an F chord instead of a C chord. So F, 2, 3, and now our thumb comes down to this F, and then plays a B flat chord. B flat, D, F, and resolves right back down to F. A, C, F. Then on the count of 4, play F and launch into a G chord. B, D, G. And it's 1, 2. We're going to do the same maneuver here. 1, 2, 3. On that syncopated and, you come down with your thumb and you hit that G. And then we come up and it's a C chord, C, E, G, resolving right back down to G, B, D, G. G chord, and then launches into a C chord. Okay? Bum, 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 bum. Because it's leading into a C chord again, so on 4 we just play that C chord again, and then you start the whole thing over again. So watch this nice and slow. I'll just play that whole sequence. It looks like this. Okay, so now I'm going to play both hands together pretty nice and slow, and we'll just kind of do it 3 or 4 times so you can get a really good look at how they work together, okay? So let's take it at this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Couple more times. Okay, that's the verse. You have learned it. When you bring it up to speed, it will sound like this. that moment, you're ready to go, turn 'em on, and get into the chorus. So this is like, guess there are times when we all need to share a little pain, and ironing out the rough spots is the hardest part when memories remain. And it's times like these when we all need to hear the radio, 'cause from the lips of some old singer we can share the troubles we already know. Turn 'em on. Okay, so you're ready for the chorus. Okay, I'm going to do one of my nifty little blackouts, and then we'll be right back to start on the chorus after this brief pause, sponsored by Screenflow, Macintosh's #1 video editing software. Okay, I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, well, now that we've learned the introduction to the song as well as the verses, let's learn how to play the chorus. Now, in the same way that the verses were easier to pick up in some ways because your left hand did exactly the same thing that it did during the intro, in this case, your right hand's going to do exactly the same thing during the chorus that it did during the verse. The left hand has a slight variation. So let's take a look at what it is. We're going to keep the same rhythm. Bum, 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 bum. Okay? That doesn't stop. But what is going to change is that the right hand, instead of staying steady on just C, then F, then G, is going to start doing an alternation between the 1 and the 5 of whatever chord it's on. Now, if you don't know what that means, don't worry, you don't have to know, because you're going to get to see the actual notes. But for those of you who know something about music theory, this will help make it maybe make a little more sense a little more quickly. So, in a C chord, the 1 is C, and the 5 is G. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take that same rhythm and we're going to alternate between C and G with a passing tone of the 6, which is A. So it looks like this. Now we're ready. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Now we're ready for the F chord. And we're going to do the same thing there. Well, the 1 of F is F. The 5 is C. That passing 6 tone is D in an F chord. So F, D, C, D, F, D, C. Now we're ready for the G chord. The 1 of G is G. The 5 of G is D. The passing 6 tone is E. So G, E, D, E, G, E, D, E. And now we're back to C. Okay? So the right hand is going to do exactly what we learned in the verse. So make sure that you have learned the verse before you try to take on the chorus. This is a compounding process, because I'm not going to spend as much time going through all those details. I'm going to assume you picked it up during the verse. But when you add that moving bass line like that, it adds a little bit of extra flavor, which is how the verses and the chorus differentiate themselves. So this sounds like this. Okay, so basically the same thing we've been doing, but with that little variation in the bass. So what I'm going to do, now that I've shown you what the bass is doing and you already know the maneuver that the right hand is doing, I'm just going to play the two hands together nice and slow several times through, 3 or 4 times through, so you can really get a good bird's eye view of how they work together and what it looks like. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to slow it down even more. And then I'll play it at full speed, and then we'll move on. Here we go. Okay, that is how you play this. So at full speed, it'll come up. Hope is gone. Why don't you tune in and turn them on? Okay, that's how that works. So, now you know what you need to know to play the verses and the chorus and the intro. So, now there's one section of the song really left that is a little bit different. It's the bridge of the song, and that's what we're going to learn in the next section. So, one of my brilliantly edited blackouts is about to happen. And then we'll pick up and learn that bridge really quick, just shortly. I'll see you there in just a minute. All right, let's tackle the bridge to this song. This is the part that goes, sad songs, they say. Sad songs, they say. So we're talking about that section of the song. And it actually starts about the midpoint of the last measure of the second chorus, okay? So we've come out, when all hope is gone, you know the sad songs say so much. Okay, at this point, the left hand is going to have its first ever variation in rhythm. So it's going along, the sad songs say so much, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. So it breaks from that rhythm just for a second. It goes 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on E. So it goes C, E, then F. So we get back to our normal rhythm. 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then 3, 4 on D, F, then to G, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So it's just a couple of places where suddenly we go 3, 4, boom, boom, boom. But other than that, it maintains that 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 rhythm all the way through. Okay? So sad songs say so much. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now it's the last chorus. Okay? So that's what's going on with the left hand. You'll get a chance to see it working in tandem with the right hand here momentarily. So what happens in the right hand? So you're coming out of that. Sad songs say so much. Now, sad songs, they say. You're just coming down and you're playing quarter notes on that C chord. G, C, E. Sad songs, they say, goes to an F chord. So sad songs, they 1, 2, 3. And then it does this little maneuver that we've done so many times. Then F, D, G. Same maneuver we've done there. Okay, so again, we're coming along, we're coming out of that chorus. The sad songs say so much. Do it. Sad songs, they say. Sad songs, they say. G. Now it goes back to a C chord. Songs, they. Then back to F chord. So that can be a little bit tricky just because of the counting. So it's G, C, C, F. Okay? So you'll get a chance to see that in tandem. Sad songs, they, and on that final, say so much. Okay? It goes like this. G. You play G chord here and then toggle down to your thumb on this G. So, and 1, and then you play C and G together, so you're creating kind of a suspended sound. And toggle down to an A. And then just a G chord. Say so much, so turn, and then on 4, you come down on G, and then you're right back to a chorus. So let me just play the right hand only once through, kind of nice and slow, so you see the whole section and how all that plays together. So we're coming out of this. This is coming out of the chorus. The sad songs say so much. Here we go. Back into a chorus. So let's put the hands together so you can see them working, and we'll start at the end of that second chorus so you can see it coming into this and how they work together in tandem. We'll take it at a nice slow tempo. The sad songs say so much. Here we go. Sad songs. now we're into a chorus. Let's do that again a couple more times. Sad songs say so much. Sad songs they say. One more time, nice and slow, and then I'll play it at full tempo. Sad songs say so much. Sad songs they say. Now we're ready for the last chorus. And when you get it up to speed, it's going to look something like this. Sad songs say so much. Sad songs they say. Sad songs they say. Sad songs they say. Sad songs they say. So much, so turn them on. And then you're ready for the next chorus, for the last chorus. So what we're going to do in the next section is show you how coming out of the last chorus, how you end the song. And it's pretty simple, and it doesn't really require you to do much that we haven't already learned. So let's have one of my mysteriously, highly professionally edited blackouts, fade outs, and fade back in. And then we'll take a look at how you end this song. Okay, I'll see you there. Okay, so now we have learned the intro, the verses, the chorus, the choruses, the bridge. Now all we need to know is, after we finish the last chorus, how do we get out of here? Well, he vamps back and forth between just our little maneuver that we've been working on between a C chord and a G chord for a while. So that's the first thing you got to know is that, so when all hope is gone, no, the sad songs say so much. So we're on C and every little bit back to G. Hope is gone. The sad songs say so much. When all hope is gone, the sad songs say so much. And you get to do that as many times as you want, because the recording had a fade out ending. So, you know, in concert, he'll usually do 3 or 4 rounds of that. And then I'm going to show you, when you finally decide you want to come out of it, when all hope is gone, you're on G. The sad songs say so much. And that's usually how they end it. So when you come back to that C chord, songs say so much. 1, 2. Your left hand does that maneuver. C, A, G. And then your right hand comes right down on that C. And then you might want to do a little of this. Then make sure you get the proper rock star thing. You gotta bob your head up like so, and then come down on one final C. See, I don't just teach you how to play, I teach you how to be a rock and roll star. You can leave that part out if you want, but honestly, it's a lot more interesting to watch if you do it that way. So that's pretty much how it works. Let me just kind of do this slowly a couple of times, and I'll show you me getting out of the song and ending it. So we've come out of the last chorus going, the sad songs say so much when every little bit of hope is gone. The sad songs say so much when all hope is gone. I'm gonna get out now. Do you know the sad songs say so much? Now, in my case, I jump down an octave. It really doesn't matter if you land on this C or this C. It's all C's. Doesn't matter. If you're comfortable making that octave jump, go for it. But you can also just like that. Nice and slow. When all hope is gone. Sad songs say so much when all hope is gone. You know the sad songs say so much. Keeping everything in slow motion. You can tell I'm at the end of the tutorial. I have no professionalism left. Anyway, that's how you get out of the song. So what I'm going to do now is a run through of the entire song at full speed so that you can see how all of these different elements tie together and become Sad Songs Say So Much and not just a collection of pieces that we've learned. Okay? Start singing. Guess there are times when chorus starts here. Turn 'em on. To a verse. Chorus. ending. Coming out of the song. Okay, so that is how you play the song. This last chapter that I'm going to do right after this last of my famous fade out and fade ins is going to be where I show you a few extra tools for those of you who are a little more advanced and have the skill set to be able to polish and flourish this a little more. I'm just going to give you a few suggestions on things you can do to dress it up a little bit. So we'll talk more about that on the other side. So I'll see you there in just a moment. Okay, well, welcome to the advanced practical application section here. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. And also, just really quickly, I'm not going to like play this stuff over and over and over really, really slow. This is not for beginners. This is for people who already have a fairly good understanding and will be able to pick things like this up relatively quickly. And the other thing is, I would not recommend trying any of these things unless you really have the song really, really well under your fingers the way that we taught it. You need to have a foundation. The biggest issue I see piano players run into is that they try to do really complicated things too quickly, or even more complicated things too quickly, before they have the essence of it like under their fingers. You need to get good at playing it simple before you can move on to more complex and have it be, not a train wreck. So make sure that you feel really comfortable doing it the way that we taught it first. And then you can try adding some of these things in. And these are just suggestions. The best stuff is going to come to you kind of by accident, but in this mold. So the first thing that I want to point out is that Elton absolutely loves, and I cannot overstate this enough, he loves to use the chord he's already on. He is an amazingly cool player, but he's a very efficient player. He doesn't move his hands up and down the keyboard all the time. He likes to be right in the spot that he's at, and he uses rhythm more than notes. Rhythm. Interesting rhythmic stuff with the notes of the chord he's already on. So I would encourage you to do a lot more syncopated stuff. So for example, see how that thumb is just sort of always there, to almost be like a drummer. It's just always there to add a little extra pace. Use it a lot for offbeats and not the whole chord, just your thumb, wherever your thumb is. It adds a lot of pace, fills things up really nicely. You'd be surprised how much mileage you can get out of that. Another thing, lots and lots of little grace notes. I taught a few of the more common ones, like okay? But you can be doing that on any chord you land on. The best place to do it usually is on the third of the chord. So in a C chord, you'd have the 3, like the E. And you can always just take the minor third, which is a half step below that. So in this case, E flat. And do one of those. That's always a good option. Another good place to do it is on the 5. Go from a half step below the 5 and brush into a 5, so in this case, G. You can even do both, but you don't need to do both. You can just do one or the other. Okay? Flutters. What I call arpeggiated flutters. Working your way into a chord like that. Do as much of that as you want. I mean, you know, if you pepper it here and there, it's more effective than if every single chord comes down. But Elton does a ton of that, and it adds so much character to the song. I mean, you be the judge. Listen to the difference. Or... anytime you want to, throw one of those little grace notes in on the attack of the chord. All you have to do is pick one of the notes. It's best on a third or possibly on a 5 of the chord, but just pick one of the notes in the chord and do one of those brush-in grace notes. Elton does that all the time, and it's just cool. And it's, like I say, it's really, really good bang for your buck because you don't have to move your hand around. You're already there. So the question is, how comfortable are you? This is why I always say, make sure you've got it really well learned the more simple way first, because you want to make sure that you know exactly what chords you're coming down on and you feel really comfortable with where your hand is going next. Because when you have that comfort level where you could almost play it in your sleep like that, then it's a lot easier to make those choices on the fly to throw one of those grace notes in. Because you're not going to, by trying to add the grace note, play the wrong chord. You already know what chords you're on, right? So that's the big thing that I encourage is learn it really well simply and then start playing around with grace notes. And the grace notes won't cause you to play the wrong chord because you're so confident on where you're going. Another thing that is useful is in the left hand, it's a little trickier for hand coordination. But if the left hand is normally going, you can add an extra little bit of syncopation that gives it some more pace. Okay, I'll give you an example. This is vanilla. Sounds great, has lots of pace. With a little bit of extra punch there. And what I like to do is use my right thumb sort of in tandem with it. So I'm going. So I'm playing a chord and my thumb just kind of keeps. And it adds this insane amount of pace and fill and rhythmic excitement into it. It's almost like to me, what it does is it adds the effect of if you had a drummer, they're playing the hi-hat going. You know, I just love it. So, again, tricky. Make sure that you've got a really, really good solid foundation. If you're not playing it flawlessly with the more simple left hand, I wouldn't even attempt this. But once you are ready to give it a try, one last tip. All of the stuff that I just said still applies, But when Elton does move his hands around the keyboard a lot, 9 times out of 10 what he does is take the same thing that he'd be doing right here, just jumps it an octave, which again is incredibly efficient because the fact that you've jumped it an octave makes it sound like you're doing something new and exciting, even though you're doing the same thing. But it takes minimal brain processing power because you were doing it here, and now you just move your hand up and it fits exactly the same way on these keys as it does here, da-da-da-da-da. So play around with different octaves. A great example is if you're playing the intro, you might be like this. You might start out... up an octave. And then work your way back down to start singing or something. Elton does that kind of stuff all the time. And it's, like I say, it's really, really smart piano playing. It's efficient. It's efficient for your brain power and how much, processing power you have to put in for thinking about it. And it's also easy muscle memory because he uses the chord that he's already on so effectively. So those are just some thoughts for my more advanced players to make it what I like to call it Eltonifying it just a little bit more. But again, all of these things are based on being able to play it like I taught it, that more simple way. Once you have that as a rock solid foundation, it's a lot easier to try little things like this in the moment to dress it up and make it a little more interesting. So I hope that you found this fun and exciting and interesting. I hope it helps you play a song that you love. Certainly is a song I love, and I get a lot of joy out of playing it. I am Piano Man Steve. Once again, I invite you to like and subscribe this video if you enjoyed it, and to click the bell if you want notifications on when I come out with new content. And again, if you've really enjoyed yourself and want to help support my work, the digital tip jar below is a great way to do it. Doesn't matter whether it's $1 or $5 or $100. It all helps me keep the lights on and helps fuel putting new content out. Also, if you're interested in learning my method for learning songs and my method that I play the piano with, so rather than just learning how to get a fish, like these tutorials, but actually learning how to fish so you can learn songs on your own, whether there's a tutorial or not, I would invite you to check out the Piano Man Approach. There's links down in the description for that too. So, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for your attention, and thanks for joining me in this fun endeavor. I'm Piano Man Steve, and remember, if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. Okay, I'll see you on the next one, guys. See you guys.